Monuments, by their very definition, are created to have meanings far beyond the stone, brass, and marble from which they are made. They are the physical manifestations of deeply held beliefs, goals, and values, the political, the religious, and the philosophical. Across cultures and continents, we find monuments celebrating independence, freedom, power, revolution, invention, and unity. We see the honoring of the dead, of revered individuals, and of empires come and gone. These statues and buildings serve as durable symbols of human civilizations. As with all symbols, their meanings are widely interpreted, change over time, and are passionately contested. As a newly erected monument may signify strength to one party, its toppling means strength for another. Given this intense symbolic power, the debates and actions surrounding monuments provide a high-resolution lens into the perceptions, experiences, and values of people throughout history. In the United States, the Statue of Liberty is domestically accepted as a unified message of freedom and peace. In very different fashion, many American monuments are tangible reminders that the country went to war with itself just over 150 years ago. Some of these, such as the Gettysburg Memorial, are protected under federal law and widely regarded as honoring lost lives while serving deep lessons, emphasizing the true gravitas of war and slavery. However, this understanding does not apply to all Civil War-related monuments and symbols. While the outright embracing of Confederate values and goals is taboo in modern discourse, Confederate flags and memorials are still frequently found in America, with their use by state and city governments becoming increasingly controversial. The Confederate Monument in Louisville, Kentucky, was one of these controversial memorials. Kentucky was a divided state with slavery prior to the Civil War, but it never seceded from the Union. Despite the city housing many Union troops, Confederate sympathy was omnipresent after the war. Led by Susan Preston Hepburn, a group of women formed an organization called the Kentucky Women's Confederate Monument Association, with the sole purpose of raising enough money to erect a memorial statue for fallen Confederate soldiers. They spent over a decade selling cookies, cakes, and even autographs of former Confederate leader Jefferson Davis. In 1894, they reached their fundraising goal of $12,000, roughly $300,000 in 2017. They held a design competition, which was won by Louisville's own Muldoon Company, who selected German sculptor Ferdinand von Miller II to cast the bronze statues. In May 1895, the cornerstone was laid down in a ceremony attended by several thousand residents and hundreds of former Confederate soldiers. Beneath the statue's foundation, a time capsule was buried, reportedly containing pictures and personal effects of Confederate leaders, including Jefferson Davis's scarf and Robert E. Lee's half-smoked cigar. The finished piece stretched 70 feet tall, donning 3 bronze statues of Confederate soldiers and a commemoration of the rank and file of the armies of the South and to our Confederate dead. Throughout the 20th century, the monument became increasingly tangled in public dispute. The city's Public Works Department faced backlash on multiple attempts to move the piece in the 1920s and 30s, even though it was an apolitical move designed to improve traffic flow. In 1947, Louisville's then mayor was Charlie Farnsley, a leader of the local Sons of Confederate Veterans chapter and a vehement opponent of any relocation plan. He was famously photographed with his rifle in front of the monument as a proclamation of his dedication. He was asked if there was any legal hindrance in moving the statue, to which he replied, "I am the only hindrance, and I'm not legal." In the 1950s, Louisville city planners worked a compromise to reduce the memorial's footprint, but the presence remained contentious. As the civil rights movement swept America, the monument was a frequent place of meeting and protest. Eventually, the University of Louisville began taking active measure to address the tension surrounding relics of the Confederacy. In 2002, the school renamed Confederate Hall, located right next to the monument, to Unity Hall. The university's board also unanimously approved a $2 million plan to rename the area surrounding the monument as Freedom Park in honor of local civil rights leaders. In April 2016, the city caused a stir when they announced their plan to relocate the statue.
Today, President Ramsey and Mayor Greg Fisher have come together to take immediate steps to have this Confederate statue removed.
The Sons of Confederate Veterans challenged the move with a lawsuit, arguing the city had no legal claim to the ownership. The suit sparked an intense public conversation which showcased a broad range of views on the matter.
It is not a monument about slavery, about heroes who fought and defended their homes and firesides in defense of the Constitution as they understood it.
It is art, and as an art dealer, I do support maintaining elements of that statue.
We really just feel strongly that the monument remain in Kentucky.
I suggested it go to the state's largest battlefield, Perryville.
Perryville is a good suggestion, but Perryville is not Louisville. That monument needs to stay in this city.
I don't particularly care to want to see the Confederate flag or anything Confederate. That's just my honest opinion. You know, if you need help dropping it in the river, I'm more than willing.
This wide variety of perspectives was effectively summed up by the ruling judge Judith McDonald Berkman in a decision that ultimately sided with the city. These monuments, as well as other symbols of the Confederacy, are now viewed as a romanticism of the past, pride in Southern heritage, history to be acknowledged, and lessons to be learned, reminders of slavery or indicative of present racist sentiment. The court recognizes, even if it does not agree with, these oftentimes competing emotional elements. And so, on November 19, 2016, the monument was dismantled and sent down the road to Brandenburg, Kentucky, a small town known for its Civil War history and reenactments. At a cost of $400,000, the process took an entire crew and extensive machinery. The time capsule originally buried beneath it was unearthed, but a century of erosion and water damage has disintegrated its contents. An appropriate reminder that the physical nature of our monuments, big and small, often fades more quickly than their associated beliefs.